Hi guys, welcome to TFSL TV. I'm hoping these headphones are improved the sound quality. I'm outside, so it's hard to gauge until I play it when it's finally recorded. But we're coming live from Shenzhen, China. Yesterday we had a massive typhoon which came over from the Philippines, and it hit Hong Kong and it hit southern China. I've not walked around the city yet, but there's been a little bit of damage. Right, onwards and upwards then onto the game world. Turn 13, so we're 13 games in, you could say now, roughly a third of the season, which should give everyone an idea of where we're going to be. I'll go for a roundup and then I'm going to make a few observations. I'm a little bit frustrated, so and I'll share with you my frustrations at the end of the video, because the game world is going a little bit quiet, and I don't feel enough people are doing much. They're enjoying the game world, but it's and that's great. But I think for the game world to really prosper, you need much more. And it's this old sort of thing rearing its head again, you know. What do you want? Do you want an interactive game world? Do you want a game world where you just sort of log in and pick your team and are quite happy, and there's no right or wrong to any of it? But just me personally, I had a dream a long time ago to be part of probably an 80-100 mammoth game world where everybody was accounted for on Facebook or YouTube, so everyone was real. And we did that, we achieved that with another game world. Then that, I was hoping we could do the same with this game world, but I've got to be honest, I see the same probably 10 to 15 people putting in a bit of effort, putting in a bit, and the same 40-50 people that are just invisible ghosts. So it kind of deflates you a bit, because on the one hand, with one person and a lot of enthusiasm and motivation, you can really do a lot. You can sort of start a movement and everyone can join in. But I don't see it happening with this game world, possibly because there are so many other good game worlds out there, and people just haven't got the time to put in for every single one. So they make a decision, they make a choice. What's their preferred favourite game world, and that's a very likely outcome. And TFSL is probably getting pushed down in second, third or fourth place for a lot of people, and that's absolutely fine, because you know there are some top game worlds out there, and it's just very frustrating when you're trying to build something. And I actually believe we've got so much potential. You look at the teams we've got and the mix of teams, I think this game world could be the best, but it's only as good as what the people in it put in, and some well-known good guys have put in very little in this game world. You know, the likes, I mean, the game world owner himself, not heard from him in ages, can't get hold of him. There's a manager who wants to leave, and we've got another manager to come in. You know, you've got to be on top of these things as if you're choosing to run a game world of this magnitude, you've got to be on it, and that sets the tone and the precedent. Then, I mean, there's probably a lot of people that think this is my game world, and it's not. It's Iv's. I was only here to support and assist, but if you're putting in all your free time and effort for something that other people aren't matching, then it gets a bit. You think, what's the point? But anyway, that's my little rant over. On to the results. Division 4, my team are top of the league. I'm not exactly excited about it. I've put together an atrocious team, and if we don't go up, we're in shit's creek. I've said this before in other game worlds. It's all very well doing this approach, but if you don't go up, you're in trouble. So you have to go up. I just felt I didn't have a lot of options really. We had 2 million squad value, £500,000 spending money. That's peanuts. We're the lowest club in Division 4. I'm not bragging, it's just a fact. And for me to do what Bohemians and Dundee are doing, which is fine, you're looking at probably 4 or 5 seasons in SM before you see any kind of return. I don't see either of them challenging promotion next season, possibly the year after, but you're looking at a whole year, real life. I didn't want to wait that long. I wanted to just crack on and compete. So, but here's a question then. I'm top of the league with an absolutely awful team. Bohemians are bottom with a team twice my value. So who's doing the better job, Danny or I? And honestly, I don't know. But I do know is that I don't want to just piss about in Division 4 at the bottom of the table, waiting for 70s to turn to 73s and 74s. So we're trying to crack on. We're going to try and get promotion. There's no bullshit in here. 13 games in, I want promotion. And so do quite a few other managers. We're playing Burton on Thursday, and Burton have been underperforming under Andrew. They should be right up there. Started off with one of the teams with the highest squad value. They're having a poor season, but 2-3 wins and Burton are up there, and I still think Burton will be there or thereabouts end of season. They've just had an atrocious result at home. I think it was to Falkirk, and they're going to come to Crusaders. They're going to put 5 men in midfield. They're going to try and hit me on the break, so we need to adjust for that. The team that's impressing me a lot at the moment now is Derry City. They've gone down an oldie route, but fair play to him. He's had a 3-0 away win at Crystal Palace in the Cup, and he's managing to do that and run a league charge. The other week I thought he would lose against Burton because of his Cup exploits. He went on and beat Burton 4-0. So this guy, I think it's Brian, is obviously tactically very good, and Derry look like the real deal. They're going to be there or thereabouts. Hamilton are going to be there or thereabouts. Burton will improve. Motherwell should be much higher for the size of the club they are. Livingston, very consistent. Ross County are overachieving. I'm not sure if they'll stay in the top 6, and I said this in my initial video at the start of the season. I said Ross County will be there or thereabouts, but you've got to remember they've gone down a young route, so Gareth's doing very, very well with a young team. Cork City doing alright under Billy. I think they're targeting a playoff spot. And then Glenavon and Coleraine are fairly strong as well, so it's take your pick from there. Who knows? I do know that we will hit a sticky run soon. We're playing some top teams in the next few weeks, plus Johnny Red St Mirren. So I expect us to drop some points, and that's inevitable. On to Division 3, Reading lost, and that's the big news. Played 13, played 12, won 11, drew 1. But turn 13 was unlucky 13 for Reading. They got beat home by Scunthorpe, and had Reading won, Scunthorpe would have been in the bottom 3. So that was a massive shock. Cam was less than gracious afterwards, but that's Cam for you. The Southend has shown a lot of consistency under Glenn. He's doing more or less the same as me, isn't he? He's got an old squad. Because Southend are one of the smallest, if not the smallest team, Division 3. I'm not entirely sure on stadiums and whatnot, but Southend would be in the bottom 5 or 6 clubs for stadium and revenue and squad value. So Glenn's overachieving. Bolton in 3rd, doing quite well, but lose 5-1 at Plymouth, which is a ridiculous scoreline, particularly as Plymouth are managed by Colas. So Nick's probably living in a cave for the next few days. Came out and said that he he set his team and then it didn't save it. I've never heard anything like that, so maybe there was a connection problem or not, I don't know, but otherwise that would be quite worrying. If you're setting your team and it's not saving, there's an issue, isn't there? But I've never heard anything like that. But Bolton were doing well and are still in 3rd. Birmingham are in 4th, doing quite well under Thumbs, and I do see Thumbs making the playoffs and bottling it and blowing it. I don't see Thumbs going up top 2. Thumbs, every time I see Thumbs in any game world, he's always in and around the top 5 or 6. He makes the playoffs and then he loses. So I think Thumbs is the perennial game world bottler. I can see Birmingham coming 3rd or 4th and missing out. Wigan, I would say, would be the team to challenge Southend and Reading. They got stuffed 3-1 at home by Shrewsbury, and I was surprised by that result because they've been doing very well lately and I've got a good manager. Barnsley suffered a setback just outside the playoffs, and Aberdeen are up there, Shrewsbury are up there. Sunderland, I think, are underperforming. They are a massive club with a massive stadium and are getting much bigger revenue than anyone in that division. Sunderland should be doing a lot better than what they are. 6 wins from 13. It's not a lost cause, and a good run will see them get up there, but it's not been a very good start. And then there's some other teams in Division 3, in my opinion, really underachieving. Blackburn should not be bottom 3. They are quite a big side. You know, if you get hold of Blackburn and you sign well and you're active, you're probably going to have Blackburn in the top 4 or 5 in that division. So they're underachieving. On to Kilmarnock as well, still without a win. Benny needs to get his finger out. They're having a shocking season, and they are not the smallest team in that division, so they should be doing a little bit better. On to Division 2, and this is really getting interesting now because we have a new leader. Fulham are the new league leaders because there was a shock result at Norwich. Norwich City 0, Millwall 1. Norwich were top, Millwall were bottom, and Millwall hadn't won a game all season and went to Norwich and beat them. So that was a real shock, and that of course has let in Fulham because Forest couldn't take the advantage because they were held by Derby in a very tough game. Forest and Derby are two sort of traditional rivals in real life, both doing well. I think Mark Stewart's a good manager, and I think Derby will be there or thereabouts. Same for Forest. Keep your eye on both of them. I think one of them will go up to Division 1 this season. And then you've got, it's I think from Fulham, the league leaders, all the way down to the team in 14th. I think there's about 9 points. And it's just so condensed and so tightly packed. You've got Swansea up there in the playoffs. You've got QPR just outside, Bristol City just outside, Stoke and Rangers not far off. One team, well, there's a few teams really. I mean, Millwall got a win and they needed that because they're still only on 5 points, and it's going to be a battle for Millwall. Ipswich are having a poor season, 5 points as well. To be honest, Ipswich, not hearing too much from their manager. They need to really shake it up. And Sheffield Wednesday under Gino are having a nightmare. Very good manager, very active manager. I don't know how he's gone 13 games without a win at what I'd consider a pretty solid club, but that is the reality. So Sheffield Wednesday are in the shit and they need a result from somewhere. And I think they've got Derby next, I think. So I'm not sure that's going to get any easier. West Brom not doing great under Ian. Ian's a good manager, but I think a lot of these guys managing these bigger clubs in Division 2 are sort of going down a youth route almost. For me, I'd question it. If you get hold of a big club in Division 2, your target should be getting into Division 1, not buying lots of pretty youngsters. And that's just me personally. We got a lot of managers that are obsessed with buying players under 25 and increasing value. That's all well and good, but it is a game, it is a competition. You do want to compete and you do want to get points. And I think, without naming names, we've got a lot of managers, there's almost like a snobbery involved with buying older players. But you know, you're going to sit on your ass for 2 real life years waiting for your fruits to develop. You know, you could be getting relegated. If Sheffield Wednesday or Aston Villa or West Brom go down to Division 3, that's a disgraceful season. Regardless of what their squad looks like, that's a disgraceful season. You know, you'd be thinking they should move on anyway. So for me, it's not enough to just put a young team together. And I've said this before in other game modes about other managers managing bigger clubs, and I'll say it again, and I'm consistent with this. If you've got a big club in your league, relatively speaking, whoever it is, so Manchester City or Man U in Division 1, Sheffield Wednesday or Derby or Division 2, Sunderland in Division 3, in Division 4 I'd say probably Motherwell and Burton. If you're one of these clubs, you've got to be going for promotion. It's just not good enough to just sit there and spout off about a youth project. Anybody can do that. So then on to Division 1. For me, this division's the most boring, and actually I think quite a few managers need to wake up, because Johnny Carnage is causing carnage and he's just running away with it. 13 games, 13 wins. Yeah, he's got a good club, yeah, he bought well, but he shouldn't be winning every single game with ease. He's basically slapping that division silly, and it's almost to me like everyone's kind of given in. The only manager to me showing any fight or any bit about him is the boss at Liverpool, the boss at Newcastle, the boss at Huddersfield, all doing quite well. Liverpool are the only team I see challenging City now. I don't know what's happened to Dan at Man United, but they're suddenly 11 points off. You don't hear enough from Dan. We don't hear nothing from Yusuf at Chelsea. They're having a poor season. And we don't hear nothing from Arsenal, and they're having an even worse season. So some of the big teams, B-Mart as well. B-Mart's doing, I would say, average. But a lot of the big guys are disappointing in Division 1. It should be a privilege, and it should be something really good to take over a top club in a top game world. And you just see certain managers pissing about, not really active, not really interested, not really signing players. Well, jog on then, because we need the big clubs to be doing well, and it speaks volumes when you've got big clubs really struggling. So that's my take on that. There's too many people just sleepwalking in Division 1, and Johnny's going to walk this league. He's clearly putting in the time, and I'd like to hear a bit more from him, but he's putting in the time. And bear in mind, Johnny is blind, so the guy has to do everything on his phone with the help of his wife, and he's slapping this division silly. So it's not a question that Johnny's miles better than anyone else in this division. It's what I'm calling people out on is lack of input, lack of effort. Just can't be asked. Appreciate there's a lot of top game wells out there, appreciate people have got jobs and whatnot, but don't sign up to top game wells if you're not going to put anything in, because you're taking up a space that we can easily fill, and we will. I've got a waiting list, but I'm going to reserve my biggest criticism not for some of the managers that are sleepwalking, but for the game world owner himself. If doesn't really log on, doesn't really post anymore, hasn't got a clue what's going on regarding managers, isn't replying to messages quick enough. So if my message to you is get your act together, mate, because you wanted this game world. You were passionate, enthusiastic about it at the start, and now, typical, we sort of hear nothing from you. If you don't like what I'm saying, come out in the newsfeed and have a go and tell me. But as far as I can see, if you're running a game world like this, you've got to be setting the tone and setting the precedent for everybody else to follow. Because this isn't bullshit now. This is a top game world, but it will go to shit if people don't put in a little bit of effort. You can't rely on 3 or 4 people to run the whole show. And I don't want to. I want to be part of a team, not part of me trying to get everyone galvanised. And really it stems from the top. The game world owners should be doing more. And that's how I feel. And I understand, I know you didn't really want Dundalk when you got it, but it was a live draw. I didn't want Crusaders, but there you go. But this potentially, with the mix of teams we've got and the bulk of managers we've got, because not all managers I think are top managers, but the bulk of managers in this game world are good. This potentially could be a really, really good game world, but there's something missing, there's something lacking. There are some outstanding game worlds out there. I've been in some of them, and I know what they are, but that doesn't mean that we can't compete. But at the moment there's just too many people sleepwalking. So look, I'm happy to do these weekly things. I'm hoping there's going to be a panel show. That would be very, very exciting. I'm happy to do these things if there is people willing to take part and join in and contribute. That could just be watching a video on YouTube or passing a comment or posting something on Facebook or doing something on the newsfeed. But honestly now, I would say we've got over half managers literally doing zero, doing nothing. And that's a shame. So we're not going to the game world will basically, if it carries on that way, because Gino said a few weeks ago, is this game world dying because it went a bit quiet, and I sort of deflected that and said, well, people have had a lot on, but it will pick up. But I tell you what, if it carries on like this, it's just going to turn into a very nice chilled out game world, but lacking in a bit of passion and a bit of spark, and that's fine, but that isn't enough for me. I want to be part of one of the top game worlds where you log on and you're nervous about the result you're getting and you care about the result you're getting. And that's the thing. I just don't think a lot of managers really give a shit if they win, lose or draw, to be honest. They're going through the motions. That's how I feel. And that's how I feel about 75% of the managers in this game. So if you don't like what I'm saying, come and tell me. Tell me on Facebook. Tell me I'm a twat in the newsfeed. But you're probably all going to ignore me because most of you won't even see this video. But I just feel that there's too many managers going through the motions. I'll give a few. These managers, off the top of my head, these are the managers I think are putting a shift in. Johnny at Man City, Tom Parfit, Gino, David Fletcher, Nathan Strick, Richard Rushmore, who else? There's a few others that post, Hammer, myself, Ross, Gareth, Ross, Billy Suter, Kev, right, Cam. There's probably about 20-25 managers really doing it, but I want more. But my biggest criticism is the game world owner himself. What does he want? Haven't heard from Mick of Fulham. Would like to hear more from. James Murray at Norwich is doing great. He always puts in stuff. Phil Walters, Ross at Newcastle doing great. Anthony Roach, Terry, these are top guys, top managers. Chris Senior at Rangers. Yeah, let's go through some of these clubs. Mark at Derby. These guys I'm not calling out. These are guys you want in a game world, and you need more of it. The Coleraine boss James, Glenavon boss, Derry are doing very well. I'd like to hear more from their boss. Fums is. Do you know what? I'm going to defend Fums. All banter aside, Fums is brilliant for game worlds. And I say that, and he doesn't even join he's not on the Facebook, and he doesn't do the YouTube. But I tell you what, I'd have Fums over quite a lot of people. Because he's on the news feed, he's trying to spark things off. He says a lot of silly things, but you've got to remember half the time he's saying it just to get something going. So I'd have, Fums is brilliant. Kevin Otham's usually pretty good at Charlton, but there's just too many quiet people, and there's a lot of quiet people in charge of top teams in all the 4 divisions. So you've got a lot of top teams struggling. Michael Hudson is a top guy, although he is doing very poor at West Ham. He's a top guy, so these are the guys you want in. I don't want to start a war and have a mass walkout. I am trying to galvanise people. It's almost like a call to prayer. It's like, come on guys, let's wake up, let's get this show on the road. Let's all start pitching in a bit more, show a bit more passion. But as I say, there are 2 things that I would think are happening. People are busy in real life, and people are signed up to about 5 or 6 top game worlds, and this game world simply isn't a priority. That's what I would imagine is the case. Let's see if we can turn it around. Let's see if this video does anything. I'm not too bothered about being popular or not. I just want to be part of a really good quality game world, so I won't be apologising if I've offended anyone. Right, cheers guys, see you later.